Ryan Day believes Ohio State has enough to go win a national championship.
You are Locked On Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in, Buckeye fans, to a Monday edition of Locked On Buckeyes here on Monday, May 20th in the year 2024. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, also the host of the Jay Stevens Podcast. And today's episode is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs. These days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. That's why LinkedIn Jobs helps find the right people for your team faster and for free. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnCollege. Terms and conditions apply. Ohio State's roster has been put together in a way this year that it has not been constructed previously in previous off seasons. Ryan Day has used the portal in a great way this year, and even with a team that did not dive into the portal in a great way in the spring, they still believe right now that the Buckeyes have enough on the team to go win a national championship this year. And I agree with them. I mean, you guys have heard me for a long time discussing the ins and outs, the ups and downs, the pros, the cons of players, of coaches, of the coaching staff, of additions that I still believe the team needs to make. And I still will believe right now that Ohio State has enough right now to go win a national championship. But that can't be the end-all be-all. That can't be where you stop. Having enough right now and believing on paper you're going to win it without actually proving that on the field, that means nothing. But yes, I do believe, let's get back to the original statement, that Ryan Day believes that Ohio State has enough to win a national championship. He said that earlier this year in the month of February. Yes, Ryan Day made this statement about Ohio State's roster, and I think it speaks volumes about what they believe they have right now in the building, but also about why they were not as active as some thought they should have been during the spring portal window. Quote, "The idea right now is that we have enough to go win a national championship with the guys that we have in this building right now. If we come out of the spring and recognize that we don't, then we'll have to go from there," end quote. And currently right now, I do believe that the lack of activity in the spring means that Ryan Day and the other coaches believe they have enough right now to go win a national championship. And where does it start? If you don't have a good quarterback, if you don't have a solid quarterback, if you don't have a guy that you can believe in and put the ball in his hands and trust his arm and even his feet to get the job done, then you're not doing this thing correctly. And I think right now at quarterback, I said it last week, I'll say it again, and we'll keep saying this whole thing all summer. So if you get tired of it, sorry. We're going to keep talking about the quarterback because it's the most important position on the field. And Ohio State right now wants better quarterback play than they had in 2023. Will Howard, Julian Sand, Devin Brown. I think with that statement right now, if you play Devin Brown or Keon Holtz or Sand or Aaron Noland to start, I think you're playing with fire. Now, that's not to say that they're going to be bad quarterbacks in the future, but I don't think you want to start the youngsters when you have a seasoned vet like Will Howard, who you know what you're getting. He's not a Justin Fields. He is not a CJ Stroud. He is not Dwayne Haskins. He is more JT Barrett than any of them. And I do believe with the weapons around him, they'll get the job done. Let's go to the guys behind him. At running back, do I think that Ohio State's running backs currently will play good enough at that position to do what is needed for the RBs to be good enough for the Buckeyes to win a national championship? Absolutely. And also, side note, I don't believe Ohio State needs to have a third running back in the rotation. I think if you just use two in Judkins and Henderson, you will be just fine. And actually, I think you'll be better off by just having a two-back rotation than having three. That's literally a conversation we'll dive into later on, maybe this week, about the RB rotation. If you run with three, it hinders and it interrupts the production and the flow of the offense. That's just my thought here about that. Very short for you. We'll get more in a long-form conversation about that later on this show. Receivers, you got one leader. Everybody else is unproven. But I still believe that Jeremiah Smith, along with Emeka Egbuka and Carnell Tate and Brandon Innocent, maybe Noah Rogers, I believe those guys will be just fine at the receiver. May have some early season hiccups, growing pains. Those things are expected. But Egbuka leading the ship in that room, they'll be just fine. Offensive line is still a question mark, but as Mo Murphy of the Off the Ball Network said on this show, he said, hey, I'm not comfortable with the offensive line currently, but it is a work in progress. This is at the spring game. So, yes, the offensive line is a work in progress. We had discussed, and we'll do it again, about where I think the right spot is for guys on the O-line. But I have a belief that Chip Kelly will do a great job of working with this O-line so they're a better unit, more of a well-oiled machine leading into the game against Iowa, leading into that game against Oregon, and the other games on the Buckeyes schedule in the fall. Tight end, I don't think you need to ask much from this room. Not like you did from Cade Stover or not like you did from Jeremy Ruckert. Yeah, you'll probably still do a lot of 12 personnel, 1 back, 2 tight ends. You might even see some 22 personnel, 2 running backs, 2 tight ends. It wouldn't shock me. Do I think that in this room that you're going to have enough guys who just get the job done and they will not be asked to do all the things Cade Stover was asked to do? Absolutely. Defense? Come on now. Come on now. We do this all the time. The Buckeyes defense, there's only one question mark in a position room. And the question mark is not as big of a question mark as the O-line, but it still is a question mark. There are guys out there that are unproven at linebacker in Sonny Styles and CJ Hicks and even Gabe Powers. We know what we're going to get out of Cody Simon, but ultimately, I think they'll be just fine. Now, I'm not sure which one, the rotation, if we get a little hybrid system, if there'll be that jack position, I am not sure. But I believe that unit will be fine. And I'm not trying to drink the Kool-Aid. I'm just going to have a belief in Jim Knowles that Knowles knows what he is doing, and he'll go back to the more aggressive linebacker play that we saw a couple years ago than what we saw last year from the Buckeyes linebackers. D-line, literally you're going to have 4 guys get drafted. It's not a bold, hot take. I do believe Sawyer, Tuimoloau, Williams, and Ty Hamilton will get drafted in the 2025 NFL Draft. I have said that previously, about a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, and I'll say it again now. Those guys will be disruptors, and they'll make things very hard for the offensive line that they're going up against on that given week. If I'm an opposing offensive coordinator and I got to worry about those 4 guys, you might not get much sleep the night before the game. Then you go to the back half of the defense and the secondary. Igbinosun will probably get drafted down the road. Denzel Burke, probably, if he plays like we think he will it probably will be a first-round pick. Caleb Downs in a couple of years, probably a first-round pick. Lathan Ransom, he can be early day 2 pick. I think the injuries might keep him out of the first round. He's still going to get paid, still going to do his thing. And the coaching staff, when you say enough in the building, it's not just the players that Ryan Day spoke about. When he says they believe they have enough right now, that goes to the coaches. Yeah, you got some newcomers in Matt Guerrieri and James Laurinaitis as far as full-time position coaches at Ohio State. But Tim Mulchin, you got a belief in him. Larry Johnson, you got a belief in him. You have a belief in Justin Fry. I don't think he's on a hot seat, but I think he's trending in the right way for this room. Carlos Lachlan, that's my guy. He does something good with this unit, and it's going to be fun to watch the RBs at Ohio State. And Brian Hartline is Brian Hartline. I firmly understand why Ryan Day made that statement that currently right now, quote, the idea right now is that we have enough to win a national championship with the guys that we have in this building right now, end quote. That was something he said back at the beginning of February this year. I understand it, and I believe that statement too. What does Ohio State winning a national championship mean for Ohio State? Excuse me. What does Ohio State winning a national championship mean for Ryan Day? I'll tell you what it is next. This episode is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn isn't just a job board. LinkedIn helps you hire professionals you can't find anywhere else, even those who aren't actively searching for a new job but might be open to the perfect role. In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. On LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. Hire professionals like a professional on LinkedIn. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. This episode is brought to you by Billiards Plus. Billiards Plus has the best selection of pool tables, game tables, shuffleboard tables, and more. And the best service in Central Ohio. And guys, check this out. Billiards Plus carries grills that have up to 30-year warranties. Everything you need for in-home and backyard entertainment is at Billiards Plus. Billiards Plus carries the best pool tables from Brunswick, Alhassan, Canada, Billiards, and more. And the grills, whether you like charcoal or gas or even wood-fired, Billiards Plus has a perfect setup for all grillers. They are family-owned and operated, and when you talk to the staff at Billiards Plus, you know you're talking to an expert who won't steer you wrong. No matter the season, Billiards Plus has you covered for all your indoor and outdoor entertainment needs. Kenny, Sarah, and the whole entire staff will always go above and beyond to give you the best customer service in the industry. Billiards Plus. Visit their showroom on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin. Are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day? Have to turn down the volume with all that shouting? Make the switch to Locked On Sports today. A free 24/7 sports streaming channel programmed for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming. Locked On Sports today brings you can't miss analysis, opinions, and news. Streaming 24/7 on the YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Ohio State is one of those teams, and Ryan Day is constructing this team to be one that is competing for national championships, plural, but also to accomplish their goals, at least one to multiple goals in the upcoming season. We said it all the time. Over the past few years, Ohio State has not accomplished any of their goals. They have three. Beat the team up north, win the Big Ten, win the national championship. They haven't accomplished any of them since 2020. So by their own standards, not mine, but theirs, maybe their seasons have been a failure. That's not me saying that. That's based off their own goals. Now, if you're saying, hey, if we don't accomplish any of our goals, our season is a failure, maybe that's how you view it. Okay, that's you. But if you don't accomplish any of your goals and still say, hey, the season wasn't a failure and here is why, that's another conversation. But right now, inside the Woody Hayes Athletic Center, those players are disgruntled. They're not happy. And you know for a fact, a lot of those guys that would have been drafted this past draft in the NFL came back because they literally have unfinished business. Ryan Day didn't have a chance to go to the NFL. He is one that is not go. He could have gone to the NFL, honestly, not the draft, but he could have gone. But he decided to stay at Ohio State. And ultimately, he said recently in an interview, he plans on being at Ohio State for a long time. And you know what winning a national championship is for Ryan Day? It's getting that monkey off your back. It's getting that thing that has been haunting you, and people have been saying, hey, Ryan Day's resume is pretty good. One of the best ones in the country. Hey, Ryan Day has not. He's won. He's beat Michigan. He has won the conference. He's won playoff games. He has played for a national championship, but he hasn't won it. And at other schools, if you're going into, year 6, year 7 for Ryan Day, math is a little crazy. If at other schools, if you've been at the school for the same period of time Ryan Day has been at Ohio State, and you've accomplished some of the same things Ryan Day has accomplished, you're getting massive raises. You're doing a lot of good things. People are looking at you in great ways. You can do no wrong. That's not how things are right now at Ohio State, and they probably will never be like that at Ohio State. That's not the case at all. Ryan Day knows what he signed up for. Ryan Day knew what the culture was at Ohio State before he even accepted the promotion to be the head coach at Ohio State after Urban Meyer retired. He understands all of that. And you know what else? Ryan Day understands. There are things haunting him, and one of them is, at least by a lot of talking heads out there, he has not won a national championship. Now, here on this show, generally, I'm not one to say, and I don't think I really have ever said, that Ryan Day not winning a national championship is a big flaw. I have not gone that far. I will say this, though. He has not done enough with the roster that he has constructed previously. Now, I was on a show recently, back in 2020, And I think I underestimated how good the Alabama team was and didn't even take into account that Ohio State would be without, at the time, I did not realize the Buckeyes would be without a lot of their players, key players, Tyreek Smith being one of them, going into that game against Alabama in the Natty. So shame on me. I did pick Ohio State to win that game. It would have been hard for me to pick Alabama, even without me being an analyst right now. That's what I was thinking about. I picked Ohio State to win that game, and they were no match for Alabama. The offense was too good. Alabama was a really good team, though. I think it's one of the best teams in the past 20 years. It's kind of tough to say. Maybe. I mean, could it be top 10? Possibly top 15? Which, if you're top 15 over the past 20 years, you're doing something right. However, Ryan Day has to figure some things out. Offensive line play under Ryan Day has not been up to par since he's been there. The running game has dropped in its production under Ryan Day. And I'm not saying it's the J.K. Dobbins 2,000 rushing yards in a season in 2019, but, buddy, it hasn't been to what it needs to be and what it should be under Ryan Day. Receivers, great. Tight ends, got a lot out of the case over a lot more than other Ohio State coaches have gotten. But even defensively, I don't think if it was for Jim Knowles that Ryan Day's offense, the Buckeyes defense would be what it is. However, who brought in Jim Knowles? Ryan Day. So, yes, early on, the defense was really, not pretty bad, really bad. 2019, good. 2020, dip. 2021, atrocious. 2022 and 2023, a whole lot better. And this upcoming season, where the offense might not be the best offense Ryan Day has ever had in Ohio State history for him being the coach, the defense might be one of the best he's ever coached. So, yes, Ryan Day is making good hires. Ryan Day is making good portal acquisitions. Ryan Day is recruiting really good players. Even if you have guys decommitting, that's not saying that guy's not a good player. That's just saying that young man has changed his mind. And you know, when you were 16, 17, 18 years old, you change your mind sometimes at the drop of a hat. Is it a problem to do that? Absolutely not. That's just the way the cookie crumbles. And man, winning a national championship is going to do so many things for Ryan Day. One, he'll probably get a raise. Two, raise is good. Two, he's going to imagine what it's like winning anything after you have worked so hard, been knocked down, got into that game. Oh, you lose that game to a really good team. Oh, okay, the very next year, make it to the playoff. Oh, no, didn't work. Imagine what it's going to mean for Ryan Day to win a national championship after all he's gone through, all he's endured, and even all the things he's gotten wrong. He'll admit he's gotten a lot of things wrong. With all of that in mind, Ryan Day and Ohio State winning a national championship, it's one thing you want on your resume if you are a college football coach, but also number two, he's going to sleep a whole lot better at night. Now, it's going to be pressure to go back to back. That's another thing that's going to be there as well. But winning a natty, it's going to be oh so special for Ryan Day. Now, what if Ryan Day's statement is true, but the Buckeyes don't win a natty in 2024? We'll discuss that next. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. It's winner take all time in the NBA and NHL, and FanDuel is giving you a shot to bring home a big win of your own. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 to bet on spreads, money lines, player props, and more. And maybe you're someone like me that is tapped in and tuned in to the NBA playoffs, especially when the team you root for is still playing. Sorry, I know it stings for Cavs fans out there. Currently, right now, the betting favorite to win the Eastern Conference Finals is the Boston Celtics at minus 1,200. Maybe you want to go for the underdog of the Pacers. They're favorite to win. Betting odds at plus 680. Not favorable at all. In the Western Conference Finals, right now, the Timberwolves are favored to win that, are betting favorites to win that series via our friends at FanDuel Sportsbook at minus 170. If you're a Dallas Mavericks fan, plus 138. Put your money where your mouth is. If you want to make a lot of money, bet on those Indiana Pacers. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make every playoff shot count. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Thank you for making Locked On Buckeyes your first listen every day. For the everydayers out there, if you're not a part of the Everydayer Club, definitely join in, hop in. There's room for everyone in that exclusive group. The everydayers know that I have been very critical of Ohio State and Ryan Day because they haven't been doing the things that they say they need to do. They haven't accomplished their goals. So my job is to make sure that we discuss the things that they have not accomplished and try to figure out how they can accomplish those goals. The roster is so good, defensively especially. Like, miss me with the star conversation about the high school recruits. Don't really care about that. I see production, really good production on every single level of that defense from previous seasons, from D-line to linebackers. Really, it's only been one at that position, to players in the secondary. Their production is why I am so high on them. On offense, Ryan Day and these coaches have done a phenomenal job of putting this bad boy together. Now, if they don't win a national championship right now in this upcoming season, I don't believe it's natty or bust. I am not one. That is their goal on ultimately. I am not natty or bust. If you would think that Jay will be natty or bust, that's not me. That's too much pressure and almost unrealistic for most schools. Ohio State's up there with one of those where you have lofty expectations for every single season. Alabama's one of them. Right now, those are the two. Texas fans, yes. I think Texas fans are even more realistic, realizing, hey, yeah, it might not happen this year. Oklahoma fans, you think so, but yeah, maybe not. USC fans, I know y'all are salty the way things have gone really since Pete Carroll left. Yeah, probably not going to happen. A lot of fans out there realize this ain't that. However, if you're Alabama, if you're Ohio State, I think even Michigan fans aren't even on the natty or bust train for Michigan in the upcoming season. I think a lot of Michigan fans will be, it's going to sound weird, but this is the state of their program. That's how they are. I think a lot of them would be comfortable with an 8-4 season for the Wolverines. Y'all gonna see me out here clapping, having a good old time. Why? They lose, I'm happy. They lose, we win. It's just the way that this cookie crumbles. If Ohio State doesn't win a national championship, it's not the end of the world at all. And I won't come on here and say that. I don't think that would be a healthy way to look at it or the right way to look at it. I would not come on here and say that. What I would say is this, though. Why did you not win a national championship? Now, I have told you, and I have heard shows discussing, hey, Ohio State and Georgia, currently right now, some say they're neck and neck. Some say Georgia is better. Some say Ohio State is better. Cool, great. On paper, I don't really care. But let's just say that Ohio State does lose to Georgia in the national championship. It is a close game, like their playoff game was a couple seasons ago. Would that be a failure? I don't think so. Would it be just that team was better? Yeah. It wouldn't just mean that team was better. Would it be a lot of pressure on Ryan Day? And let's just say in this hypothetical situation that Ohio State does go undefeated in an expanded playoff in the national championship and they lose by 3 points. Would that be would we be upset? Absolutely. Like, trust me, we will do a live show after that game, and I would be upset. I would not shy away from that. Of course we would be upset. It's just the reality of it. However, sometimes when you just lose to a good team and you just lose, you got to just, one, be good sports about it and say, look, they're better. They are better. And was it 2019 season? Sorry to bring up old memories that aren't really good for us to talk about. 2019 season when it was Buckeyes losing to Clemson in that playoff game. Do I think that the refs in that game are the reason Ohio State lost? No, I am not. Did those bad calls really put Ohio State in a bad spot, in a bad situation for Ohio State to win that game? Yes, those were obstacles Ohio State had to overcome, which they ultimately did not. But I would not put that on the refs. What I would put that on is the team did not overcome those obstacles and even down the stretch make the right plays to win the game. That's it. That's clearly it. And so that could be the way that it goes in the natty. But here's another scenario. Ohio State does not win the national championship. They do lose to Michigan once again. They make the playoff but lose their first game when there are multiple games you would play before making it to the national championship. That's a different story. And then as someone that I have currently a person that believes that Ryan Day is on the hot seat. And some people say he's not on the hot seat, but based off the way things have gone, he is on the hot seat. And, well, I would say he is on the hot seat. And I think that Ross Bjork in his first year as Ohio State's AD would have to make a really tough decision. Is this enough to let Ryan Day go? I am not going to make that statement for him or be someone to say, hey, yeah, bro, you gotta make the decision. Now, if he asked for my advice, I would gladly tell him, hey, he gotta go, bro. 4 in a row, he gotta go. And I like Ryan Day. I think Ryan Day is a good guy. I think Ryan Day also has not done a lot of things right. And I wish Ryan Day would. One thing I wish Ryan Day would do would not do so much of the coach speak, would just speak his mind and give us the real about different situations like the quarterback competition. Of course, it's not going to happen. He's not going to do that. And that's his philosophy. That's who he is as a coach. Not a problem. Sometimes some of the coach speak is not good. Sometimes just dancing around questions and dodging and going around certain things is not the best thing to do. And I firmly believe that. But if Ryan Day at Ohio State, once again, are out early or bounce after the first game of the playoff, and they lose to Michigan, don't win the Big Ten Conference, and for, what would it be, the 4th year in a row, you don't accomplish any of your goals? Yes, that would be a problem. And that is a problem. And I would say, homie, got to go. That's where we are right now. Do you want, this final question here, would you be comfortable with an Ohio State Buckeye football team that is comfortable making it to the playoff and losing, not playing for the national championship, and loses to Michigan 4 times in a row, 5 times in a row, 6 times in a row? You could be 11-0 heading into that game in the season, 11-2. Are you cool with that? I'm not. Absolutely not. Never have been, never will be. And if you are, great. Be my guest, but your boy will not hop into that bandwagon. Y'all, we're up out of here on a Monday. Sorry to apologize for getting out a little bit later than expected. Had a little, was not feeling the best, and so we just had to push it back a little bit. It's here for you. Enjoy it. We got a lot of good stuff coming your way this week. Hop over to the Jay Stevens podcast. Had a good interview with Mo Murphy, frequent contributor to this show, and I think you will enjoy that episode and that show with Mo Murphy and I. That's over on the Jay Stevens podcast. Wherever you find this podcast, search Jay Stevens podcast. You'll find that show there as well. Have you heard the big news that Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on the YouTube, and now it's also available on Amazon Fire TV in the free Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On Plus, our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today now, available on the free Fire TV channels app. You can follow me on X at jstevens07. Send all of your emails to jstevens317@gmail.com. This has been Locked On Buckeyes here on a Monday. We'll see you next time.